Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Talk About the POTS Life, your go-to podcast for all things POTS. Whether you're living with POTS or supporting someone who is, this is the place for you.
Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About the POTS Life. Today we're fortunate to have Allianna Moximchalk with us.
She is a special guest, and a lot of people, if you're local to the area, might know her from her meal prep company, which is how I think that's how I came to find you. And now I will tell you, her meal prep company is saving us through this baseball summer season. So we're so lucky to have you today. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored. I'm so excited.
Do you want to start off with just giving us a little bit more about you, your background, your history?
So I own a meal prep company here in Pittsburgh, and I started it by accident because I had struggled with chronic health issues for nearly my whole life. And when I was in college, I had hit rock bottom with my health. And I really dove deep into nutrition and lifestyle. I went to the Integrative Institute for Nutrition and got my holistic health coaching certificate. And I really just dove in. And shortly after graduating from college, I met my now husband, and he had told me, I think you should meet this doctor. I think she can really help you. And so I started working in her office. I was working as a paramedic, but I actually lost my job as a paramedic because I was working 24-hour shifts and I was too sick to work. And it was
Ugh.
just way too much on my body. So I lost my job, met my husband, and he said, you should meet this doctor. I think she can really help you. So I actually started working for her as a way to pay for her services because I couldn't afford to see a functional medicine doctor. I don't know if you know anything about functional medicine, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not cheap.
No.
So I started meal prepping for myself, and then she started asking me to meal prep for her client. And that's how it evolved from there. So when it started, my husband was my sous chef. He has like a normal job, but he would come home from work and be my sous chef. And then eventually as it grew and I could afford to hire a team, we started hiring a team, and now we have a team of a little over 20 people.
Wow.
What's really evolved over the past 6 years. It'll be 6 years this month.
Wow.
But it all started because I had this big issue, and it was that I didn't know what to eat, how to cook, and I just like didn't feel good. And changing my diet truly transformed my life. And what I found is most people don't have time to prep food. And so that's just like the main pillar. Like if you're not eating well, like it doesn't matter what supplements you're taking, what medication you're on, like nothing will work as well as just eating a clean whole foods diet and avoiding the things that your body's sensitive to. So that's how I got started. And it's been a wild ride, but I love it. It's my passion. And I truly feel like it's my life purpose. So
It's so cool too because she also has a podcast, and I was listening to your first episode. I don't even know how long ago, but it's crazy what you went through. If you want to share a little bit in the beginning, I mean, you tried all the things, right? You had
I
quite the history. You tried the meds and just nothing was working.
Yeah. So it all started. So when I was a baby, I was very fussy and very ill. And my mom said, you would cry so hard that you would hold your breath and pass
Oh,
out
wow.
and then like have a seizure from just like not
Mhm.
breathing.
Mhm.
And so, but back then, no one was really talking about like soy based formulas, all like the corn
Mhm.
syrup and from like those kinds. No one was talking about that. And so I kept getting ear infections and having all these issues. And when I was 5, I had my tonsils taken out, which is a pretty routine procedure, right? You would think,
Mhm.
but I ended up bleeding and then I ended up aspirating. And there was just a lot of issues that came about after that had happened. And so after that had happened, things really went downhill. So I had
Mm.
done, I don't know, I've probably done 50, 60 rounds of steroids.
Oh,
I've done probably over 100 rounds of antibiotics.
jeez, oh
Crazy.
man.
We just didn't know better back then.
Right.
Right. And even when I say this, and I truly believe this, even if someone came to me and said, it's your diet, Allie, and I don't think I was in the mental space to be willing or to understand why I needed to change that. So even if someone came to me and said, you need to cut out gluten, dairy, soy, like we did do an elimination diet for a
Mhm.
period of time. And I remember I went gluten free. But then we went to a local gluten-free bakery that's no longer as called Gluttony. It was in Squirrel Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would buy like 100 treats because it was far from us. We
Mhm.
lived up north and we would freeze them. And I would eat one of their like breakfast danishes every morning for breakfast. But like those are loaded with sugar,
Right.
everything else processed. So while I was eating gluten free and I thought I was eating healthier, it was actually,
I think that's such a misconception because I have
Yep.
celiac and Britt has Crohn's, so I think people think I've heard it probably maybe like 10 years ago, but people be like, "Well, it's healthy, it's gluten-free." I'm like, "Just because you eat a gluten-free Oreo does not mean it's healthy."
right?
Like, it's still filled with everything. So, yeah, that's so true. You don't know better. Although it's gluten-free, it's still filled with all those other things.
Yeah. And people just don't really
Mhm,
know until you start eating those whole real food.
mhm,
Like your body just doesn't know that like it needs better and it needs
mhm,
more. And then once you start giving it better, there's really no turning back because now if I already, I know what it's like to feel good.
mhm.
So if I were to eat, something that just isn't in alignment with how I want to feel,
Yeah.
I notice it instantly. I feel it in my face before I feel it anywhere. It's crazy. It
Mhm,
affects everyone different. And, over the years, one of the things that has like really, I think, motivated me is like my whole family has an autoimmune condition. Everyone in my family.
mhm,
It's we've talked about that, how it's like there's some genetic piece of that, right? We
mhm,
have it in ours, same with Kelsey's. Yeah.
mhm.
Thank God I married my husband because like his DNA is just great. His genetic makeup, like, okay, like our kids like may not,
Cross the fingers.
yeah, may not have, the bad genes, but my family has had a lot of issues. And that was very upsetting to me growing up,
Yeah.
seeing that. And so one of the things that has really motivated me is like, okay, well, if I want my family to make these healthier choices, if I want my family to be okay, like I need to be okay.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
need to be
Absolutely.
that role model. I need to show them it is possible. My little brother recently did an elimination diet. And he said, it's so weird. I added sugar back in and I feel it in my legs. Why is that? And it's like, it affects everyone differently.
mhm,
And
mhm,
so that's why I think it's so important to really pay attention to your body, journal, keep your
Mhm.
food journal,
mhm.
write down what you're eating, pay attention to that, and do if you have a chronic health condition, this is with one thing, I'm not a big fan of telling people what to do.
Mhm.
But the one thing I will tell people what to do is you need to do an elimination diet before you do anything.
And just see because you're
Mhm.
so right. I mean, sugar, especially from a POTS perspective, like sugar is a big trigger for me. Even my mom will tell you, like, she's not fully diagnosed POTS. She probably has it. But like chocolate, even a piece of chocolate, like
Yeah.
the smallest little thing. And that's what she noticed. She would have it like a tiny little piece after lunch, and her heart rate would be through the roof where, somebody else could have chocolate, but you just don't
Mhm.
know. Every person can be alike, but every single body is different.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I know that like some of the medications I was on too, like speaking
Mhm.
of POTS and like passing out those kinds of symptoms, like I vividly remember as I was coming off of certain medications, my body was having a very hard time adjusting
Mhm.
Mhm.
and I was starting to pass out. Or
Mhm.
when I would move positions. I remember doing yoga and just moving the positions. I like thought I was gonna die.
Yeah. I
And it
mean,
wasn't even hot yoga.
right? Like, this what is happening? And
And I
I
was
think,
18 years old.
like and from an with things are autoimmune, I mean, that's where I think POTS is gonna end up, like, things just don't make sense, and if one thing goes like that, coming off a med, most people can handle a change of meds. I feel like when you have a very sensitive body, it's
Mhm.
just any little change, good or bad, it just can rock it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know like one of the things that really triggers me nowadays is like scents,
Mhm.
like artificial fragrances. I feel like I'm
Mhm.
going to pass out if someone
Mhm.
has fresh.
You're like, you can really sense it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Mhm.
is, I think, but that we see that all the time with, like, a mast cell diagnosis or
Yeah.
something. I didn't know cinnamon was high histamine, and it was Christmas time, and I was diffusing in my office. I'm like, "Oh," like a natural oil. I'm like, "This is gonna be so good," and then I'm like, "Why do I feel horrible?" And one of my patients was like, "Kels, cinnamon's high histamine. I'm like, oh, well, I will take that out of the diffuser. Like, I think I'm doing something good, but like, it is since it bothers me, but it doesn't have to bother the next. Like, everybody's so individualized, but all under that same umbrella of things just really affecting people differently.
For sure, absolutely, yeah. It's like my brother said, sugar affecting his legs. I feel it
Mhm.
in my face. It's really different for everyone.
Mhm.
And it's so important, like you said, about writing things down and tracking what you're eating, what you're doing, and how you're feeling. We
Mhm.
talk about that a lot on this podcast about if you don't identify what that trigger is, and it could be, for POTS patients, it could be an activity as well that's
Mhm.
making their symptoms worse. So it's really about documenting what you're doing to find out what in the environment or what you're eating is possibly leading to that situation.
Absolutely, 100%. And I wish, like, every doctor would say that
I know.
Yeah,
when you go to the doctor, because I think the key to healing and just, like, becoming the best version of you is just becoming more self-aware, and so when you're writing
Mhm.
things down, like, it forces you to be self-aware, and without that, I think it's impossible to have that awareness.
I think it seems like when you look back hindsight, like, oh my gosh, that was right in front of me. But when you're in it and you're in the thick of just feeling terrible, like your brother, how would he realize it was sugar that
Yeah.
made him feel that way? Or certain foods for me, like you don't realize, or you think you might be eating healthy or the right diet for you. And then until you take it out and put it back in and be like, oh, okay, maybe that was it. Or, it wasn't this food that I thought it was. So just having it all, like, laid out so you can look back hindsight, yeah, I think that's key for so many reasons.
Absolutely. It's so crazy, I think too, one thing to like brush on. And like I'm thinking about I'm now a mom. I have a
Mhm,
6-month-old, and I'm just thinking about like the world through his eyes and what he'll
Mhm.
experience is like I think the more self-aware you are, like the more self-aware the people around you are. So
mhm.
Mhm.
like even if you're not directly trying to like impact them, it does. So, whether you're going to that 4th of July picnic and you're packing your own food and someone was like, "What's that?" And you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, well, this is this, this is this, this is this. This is why I eat this."
Mhm.
People are like, "Oh, well, maybe I should look into something like that, right?" It's like,
Yeah,
was that ripple effect? And I think that that's really how we're going to like see change in our world and see
Sure.
change in our health is like people just really prioritizing their health one person at a time.
and not being afraid to share that, I was diagnosed with celiac when I was 15 months old, so I was always the person taking my food to a party, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, "What is that?" And I'm gonna be 36 in November, so 20 years ago, even more than that, oh my gosh, 30 years ago, gluten-free wasn't really a thing, so I was always taking my pizza in the plastic containers or keeping the cookies in school. I think, like, I was always not nervous, but it was just awkward, but now I think sharing it, or my son eats gluten-free, and just being like, it's okay, it's normal. My parents never made it a big deal for me not making a big deal for him, and just sharing that. I mean, this is how we started with your meals. I just have to say, we've tried other meal preps. They are so good. So, like, not only are you showing people the food or sharing the food, but you're sharing something that is so good. And so you had all these things with your health and then starting the meal prep, but how do you now, like, curate? I mean, I'll tell you, my husband said, "When is that bacon ranch pizza coming back?" He said, "Does this change every week? Because we wanna keep this." So
Just
how do
maybe,
you yeah, how do you keep up with changing it and then just, developing into, like, year 1 to year 6?
well, I think like a big thing has been always like following what I need,
Mhm,
like in terms of my health. And also too, like my husband eats the way I eat at home,
Mhm.
but
mhm,
out and about, he eats whatever.
mhm,
And so he loves like typical like bar food.
mhm.
And so a lot of the stuff is just healthier twists
Yes.
on things that he likes. He gives me a lot of inspiration. He's like, the other night we had meatball sliders for dinner.
Yes.
They were insane. They were so good. Not to toot my horn.
Listen, her stuff is so good.
Aw. Well, we have to get Brittany some to try, so we'll send you some. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I know. I tried to grab something for dinner the other day because I was up you're in a couple stores here in the Pittsburgh area. I was up in Cranberry and I stopped in that Giant Eagle to see what they had available. It was only cookies and salad, and I was looking for dinner, so I didn't grab anything that day, but I will circle back and
Yeah.
Yeah.
see.
It tends to go fast,
Yeah, yeah.
um, but seeing so like what he's craving or like, like my little brother's on his journey, like what's
Mhm.
he craving and
Mhm.
finding those alternatives. And then it's just evolved from like getting feedback from our customers.
Mhm.
And it's really evolved from there. And so one of the things that I'm working on is putting together pretty much like a printout of how to get started eating this way because it is so overwhelming to
Mhm.
get started if you don't have someone there kind of showing you the path, showing you the way. So
Mhm.
that's something that's coming soon. We do have like an online membership where you can sign up and you get weekly meal plans and grocery lists and exclusive meal prep recipes, which is really cool. So we do have some fun things in the works to really just help people and to show people that this is doable, it's
Mhm.
feasible, and you don't have to be doing it alone.
Yeah, and like a starting point, because you're right. And there's so many, Britt and I talk about this often, like fads, right? And everybody's looking for that quick fix. And I feel like any autoimmune, there is no quick fix. It's a lifestyle change, which we say all the time, no matter what it is. And I just think people get overwhelmed, like, where do I even start? And then it's so overwhelming, they're like, forget it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And I'm
Yeah,
just going to continue feeling sluggish and feeling this type of way. So breaking it down and being like, "No, it's not doable. It takes time, but then we're here to, like, walk with you
Mm.
and give you the tools to do it."
absolutely.
Yeah,
I
it is so overwhelming.
I saw on your website about the classes that you could join to,
Oh,
to
yeah.
learn some things, and also, if you miss them, they're recorded, which is really awesome because we go back to like the education component that if you think back through middle school, high school, college, I went to school for nutrition, so like I obviously had some in college, but think about what kind of education did we get about cooking, meal prep, just general nutrition education
None.
when we were younger. Not that much,
No.
if any at all. One home ec class that I remember making mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, as an adult, we're not setting ourselves up for success in that way.
absolutely. I 100% agree with you. It's like something we need to like teach ourselves,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you know? And so I think the more resources that are available, we have hundreds of free recipes on my food blog because I understand that like buying meal prep isn't feasible for
Mhm.
everyone. So
Right.
I want people to have access, where they are in
Mhm.
their journey. So we have hundreds of free recipes on the blog. We have the membership, and then you can also order meal prep.
And I think it's cool too because that allows it to extend outside of Pittsburgh because we
Mhm.
have people on the app literally in different countries. So, it's something that they can pull too, like to make at their own pace or wherever they are.
Absolutely.
Now, if you are in Pittsburgh, tell them where I know the Cranberry Giant Eagle. I'm going to try my very best to talk you into it. We need to get you east of the city. So we
Yes,
need to, we need
where
to bring you this way.
where are you located?
So we're like Monroeville, Murraysville
Oh,
area. Yeah.
okay. We're in the Janewa Cranberry. And then we have like a few local coffee shops that we sell our cookies at. But mostly if you want meal prep, the best way to get it is to order it and get it delivered. And you can use the discount code POTS and it'll save on your first order. And yeah, we would love to expand our wholesale, but we've just found that like to maintain the quality that we want to
yeah.
That's probably
maintain,
hard.
it's really difficult. And so we're kind of keeping it where it's at and growing a little bit with what we're already doing. But
Hmm.
yeah, maybe
Yeah,
one.
because it is. I will tell you, I order salmon from her once a week, and the quality is so good. Like tonight, we're having salmon piccata because
I had that for lunch.
it's so good. And I mean, it is like, I just have to say, because we have tried other things and the quality you just can't get, especially, I mean, listen, like I said, I've been gluten-free for 35 years. It is very hard to find not only gluten-free, but dairy-free. And
Mhm.
something that is delicious because a lot of times gluten-free, dairy-free, you're like, "Oof, what is it gonna taste like?" And that is so not the case. So, even if you're not local, following her recipes, I promise you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I had a question about how you started this all. You said you were to go all the way back. It's been in my head ever since. You were working for the functional medicine physician
Right.
and they had asked you to start making meals. Did you enjoy cooking? Did you like cooking?
Not
How did you
really.
decide this is my career now? Yeah.
Especially as a paramedic
Yeah.
previously, like, how did you die?
It was, I remember, like, I was definitely like the black sheep. Like, we would be going on calls and I'd be like, I gotta stop at the grocery store. Pull the ambulance out front. I'd run in, I'd pick food up and I'd make it on my shift because when you're working in
Oh,
EMS,
yeah, right.
you typically, like, hospitals have snack rooms for public safety workers. And in that snack rooms is typically like ice cream, Pop Tarts, and chips.
Yeah.
You'll likely if you can get like a hoagie or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, like, that's how that started. And then working for that functional medicine doctor, like well, let me backtrack. I had to start cooking for myself because this was 10 years ago. Like, I can't imagine doing this 20 years ago because there's probably absolutely nothing.
No.
Like, this was 10 years ago and there was absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
Like, I remember like finding gluten-free bread, like made out of corn, and it was awful, like literally
So
felt
dry.
so
So
dry,
dry.
like
Mhm.
biting into a brick.
Mhm.
So, you know, it was more of out of necessity.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that like I loved cooking my whole life because that really isn't accurate. But yeah, it was born out of necessity. And so I found a way to make it work. And excuse me, my husband is really good at like following recipes. So like he was kind of like I would do like a ton of the prep and then he would make like egg roll in a bowl, like he would make
Mhm.
the Asian meatballs. Like he was really good at like executing that. And we joked that like I was never going to be able to hire anyone because like he was so good, like no one would be as good as him. He's amazing. I did find people that were better.
Yeah.
He works in corporate world. So like this is not his
It's
me,
not
you know,
his thing.
yeah, not his thing. So, but yeah, that's kind of how it started. And I just taught myself. And then over the years, we've brought people onto our team with different backgrounds. And, believe it or not, like most of the people on our team don't have culinary backgrounds, which I think people like find to be shocking.
Yeah.
But I found that oftentimes, like in order to train people to, cook, like no culinary school is training people to cook this way. So like,
Mhm.
it's, sometimes like the best people can be people who have no background
Mhm.
in
Yep.
what
Yeah.
they're really, they're like a sponge. They can absorb everything
Mhm.
they're learning because they don't already have like a set way of doing things.
Sure.
Yeah, and a fresh perspective of being like,
Yeah.
this is what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Tell them how, obviously you said the code, but tell them how they can find like what your website is or
Yeah.
Instagram, so how they can find it all.
So my website is alliannaskitchen.com. I'm sure you'll link it in the notes.
Mhm.
On my Instagram is Allianna's Kitchen. And the discount code is POTS, POTS. You can save on your order. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think just following along, I mean, because you share obviously about the meal prep, but even your Instagram is just healthy alternatives and different things that you use in your everyday life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my gosh. And I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Try her food. I mean, my husband, who doesn't say anything, he was eating the pizza last week and he's like, can you order this next week? I'm like, when it comes back, I will order it. We love it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That means a lot.
I'm looking forward to using that promo code myself to
Yes.
get my hand on some of this delicious food you've been talking about. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to chat with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'll have to have you guys on my podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
We'd
Tell
love
them what
to.
that is too, so then they can find it. Because I think even just listening to your first podcast, it's so relatable. And I think
Yeah.
that's what's key, that people just take to that because you are a real human sharing your story and then look what you've done with it.
Yeah. So it's the Allianna Moximchalk podcast. You can find it on Apple or Spotify. And there's probably a good 30, 40 podcasts on there. I'm getting back into recording them more regularly now that I have my baby. But yeah, you
Yeah.
can take a listen. My favorite one is the intro and then the one with my functional medicine doctor, Valerie Donaldson. That's on there too. Those I feel like are like the juiciest.
Oh, yeah. And congratulations on being a new mom, right? 6 months, you said?
6 months. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
It's
But yeah,
great.
I definitely need to have you guys on my podcast. So you'll have to let me know.
Yes. We would love to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to check out her website, her Instagram, her podcast, all the things. Like, subscribe, and don't forget to visit us next time.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.